for example, like Ruin Johnson, he's never going to say something like that, right? But I mean, maybe another person might say.
Here's the thing. I think Ryan Johnson was totally on board with everything that Kathy wanted.
Yeah.
That's why he was brought in.
That's a bad example, right?
Yeah.
But like, if there's somebody said, oh no, they changed it fundamentally. Like, I didn't want there to be a purple hair female admiral. It was really going to be Akbar, but they took it and they took Akbar and they gave her purple hair and made it. Yeah, Karen from HR. So like. God. But you can't say that. Like, you just can't say that. Like, I mean, there's, from both a PR standpoint and a legal standpoint, that's not something that's permissible. Disney is like Jerry Jones and the Cowboys.
You're not wrong. That's
wrong.
actually a pretty good analogy right there. Because of course, for those of you who are not football people here in the U.S. football, National Football League, Jerry Jones is a very heavy-handed owner that likes to dictate to his general managers and head coaches, even though he pays them bajillions of dollars a year, how to do their jobs. And then the team usually gets screwed.
Yep.
So,
very much true. All right, let's continue with this here.
We wanted to do the same thing with the writers, and we'd like to do the same thing with the actors. There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic. And they are adding to a set of challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
So they're not being realistic?
No, they're not.
Why not?
I can't answer that question.
Okay, so there it is. So that's where I want to pause there. So why do you think? Okay, you're laughing. Why can't he answer that question? Why can't he answer that question? Because I mean, why is it such a big secret that he? Can't reveal it. I mean, I guess there's ongoing negotiations, right? So that's part of it, right? So he can't reveal all the details of ongoing negotiations. But I have an inkling here as to why. But I want to see what you think about this.
Well, look, you're right. He doesn't want to say anything at this point. Ongoing negotiations. The actors have just, joined in with the WGA. The SAG-AFTRA joined in with WGA, the Writers Guild. I think that realistically, I think he's right to be fair with a lot of things that the WGA is asking for that I think are far too over the top. And those are things like, if you have a television series that has X number of episodes and it's on this and that, then you have to have at least 6 writers or 8 writers in a writer's room at all time during production, blah, 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 this and that and the other thing. And it's like, no, not every production requires that. That's part of the problem with Hollywood these days. There's too many chefs in the kitchen, right?
Well,
Taylor Sheridan even came out. The most successful television writer and showrunner in Hollywood right now, by far, by orders of magnitude, Taylor Sheridan. This is the guy who did Yellowstone, folks, and all the other related shows and all the other stuff on Paramount. Huge shows. Taylor Sheridan came out and said, I don't want that. I can't sit here and defer to a room of 8 people that I don't know and don't care about my artistic vision. Screw that noise. He actually said in the article, the interview, I think it was with Variety, we said, if I have to do this, I'm not working anymore. I'm done.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. It's like all these extra things that they want, and I get from their standpoint, the gamut of Hollywood has changed, and they want to get these residuals like they used to when everything was very advertising-based. It's going to take time because streaming is not there yet. Streaming is still mostly premium, meaning non-ad-based.
Yeah.
They're trying to move the direction to where they're going to get more AVOD and SVOD advertising-based stuff, but they're just not there yet. So, we'll see. But for right now, their demands are just, they're not going to get everything they want. It's not going to happen.
And that's where I said I started this out before you got on, and I was saying, Valiant, that I'm not saying either one from a business standpoint is right. And in fact, I would say from a business standpoint, I actually would think the corporations are probably, being in this case much more realistic vis-a-vis the writers, because the writers have to acknowledge right now they're in a tough spot. They're lucky to have jobs based on the just the general profitability of the sector, as well as, like I said, the ability to replace them with cheaper labor, whether that's foreign labor, whether that's AI, right? You're seeing foreign productions. I mean, over here, in Korea, up there in Asia,
saw what Disney
here.
just said they were going to do.
Yeah,
They're buying a whole slate of K-dramas for the fall on Disney Plus.
Why is that? Oh, it's so weird that they have to buy.
And it's going to be better than anything
K-dramas.
Disney Plus has had on Disney Plus to date. I
That
guarantee
wasn't
it.
written by Disney writers, was written in a different country, and once again,
They're
it's
buying a
written by-
turnkey product, Andrew. That's
Yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
They're plug it in, roll the K drama, and you're gonna print
Yeah.
money,
Yep.
right? Which is hilarious.
They
which is
saw what
absolutely
Netflix
hilarious.
did, and they were like, "We want some of that." Oh, they want to go on strike? No problem.
Now, I will say, I think that part of the reason that Bob Iger isn't going to say it is because obviously people are going to use it as a talking point, right? So if you start like during, and this is obviously, yes, you don't want to disrupt negotiations, and that's a big issue, from a both legal and, negotiation standpoint. But like, let's say he tipped his hand and say, look, they want to have, like you said, they want to have X amount of writers, or they want to make X amount per hour, or they want a guaranteed revenue of X, right? Because like Adam Conover said, I played the clip from Adam Conover earlier, they can't afford their mortgages in LA. Well, people are going to start arguing with this and saying what is reasonable versus what is not if you make those numbers public. If you actually publicize this is the wage, right? It's sort of like talking about minimum wage. As soon as we talking about minimum wage, people argue, is it reasonable, is it not, right? And I'll just remind people that the minimum wage hurts the people that it actually intends to help the most. But that being said, let's finish this. There's just a little bit left of this clip.
Yeah, and I respect their right and their desire to get as much as they possibly can in compensation for their people. I completely respect that. I've been around long enough to understand that dynamic and to appreciate it. But you also have to be realistic about it with the business environment and what this business can deliver. It is and has been a great business for all of these people, and it will continue to be, even through disruptive times. But, being realistic is imperative.
What do you do in the interim then? Does AI start to
it
write a
sets
lot of scripts?
It will have a very, very damaging effect on the whole business, and unfortunately,
The strike will.
There's huge collateral damage in the industry to people who are, who are support services. I could go on and on. It will affect the economy of, different regions even because.
Okay, so that's where I want to get into it. Okay, couple things here. So Bob Iger here, he got into at the end there, and I'll jump on that first. He got in this argument. I saw another company, a company called Bud Light, making the exact same argument. You're laughing
Light.
here because you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But the whole thing now with Bud Light in the mainstream media, their argument is you're by boycotting us, right? By hurting us, you're hurting these support staff in these industries. So think of the industries, think of the collateral damage, and therefore don't boycott us because you're going to hurt they gave the example of the poor bottler. There was a bottler in Louisiana, in Kunas country down there with
Yep.
you,
I know
and
what
a
you're talking
bottler
about,
in,
yeah.
I believe, the Carolinas. Initially, it was reported as South Carolina, but I believe it was actually North Carolina. That's closing because of Bud Light, sales just tanking. So I think he's making a similar argument. He's saying, no, these are, this is going to hurt all of America. We're going to have to close stuff down. I think that's a lame ass excuse, and I think, frankly, to try to say, oh, don't boycott us because you're going to hurt America. That is possibly the weakest possible excuse for me, but I'm seeing corporations use it, so I'm seeing a trend here. Like, this is going to be the excuse of corporations is, hey, people are going to lose their jobs, so we don't want anybody to lose their job now, and of course they'll end up blaming it on these industries rather than their own financial failures, which you've been covering consistently for the past year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two different dynamics here, right? So you got Bud Light on one side, and I love the fact that you kind of use that as a reference because it kind of highlights some of the understanding here, the variances in different situations. On the Bud Light side, well, that was a situation entirely of Bud Light's making. So Bud Light is saying, don't boycott us, even though we completely screwed the pooch. And that pooch's name is Dylan. That we completely screwed the pooch, right? Keep buying our product because you're going to hurt all these other people that work with us. Instead of saying, we screwed up, we lost our audience because of a grand mistake, and therefore we, Bud Light, we are the ones who have injured America. We have injured our partners. We have injured our distribution channels, our bottling plants. We, Bud Light, have done that. Nobody else has done that. America hadn't done that. This idea that you can go do whatever the hell you want and there shouldn't be any reaction because we're going to give you, this sales pitch of fear and all this. Well, screw you. Now, in the case of Disney and Warner Brothers and
we're gonna have to shutter the parks. We're gonna have to close stuff down in Florida. We're gonna have to close stuff down in Georgia. We're gonna do no more filming there either, right? I mean, it's this attempt to, I think, get people to turn around. And obviously, by the way, to me, from what I understand, the writer's strike is centralized in California, which, once again, I love this idea of California eating its own, because it was literally, weeks ago that he was out there glad-handing it with the mayor of Los Angeles, Orange County, I believe, Orange County or Orange County Commissioner or Anaheim, and Gavin Newsom, over the parks over there. So he's out there glad-handing it with these Democratic politicians, on one hand, and then wanting to, fight back on wages, and a living wage. He wants to fight back on that concept, which is key, which is central to the leftist ideology and message.
Yeah. The thing with the writer's strike, though, is you've got two different sides on this, right? You've got the Hollywood side that can claim that, well, we were just going along our merry way, and then our employees decided to sever ties and stop working. So you get to have this different dynamic than Bud Light, which is a singular entity claiming, oh, woe is us, versus, in this case, from a media perspective, you get to have the studios blaming the writers and the actors and the writers blaming the studios. So then you get to have this, well, who's really the bad guy? Now, to Bob Iger's point that it's going to have a broad economic impact, to a degree, I can understand that, because if production shuts down of everything for the next 6 months, let's just say, that's going to impact not only the below-the-line, quote-unquote, below-the-line workers. We're talking about the gaffers, the grips, the technicians, the cinema crew, the film crew, and all this kind of stuff, the people that are contracted to come in and actually shoot and physically produce these things are screwed. And that's not just in California. That's also going to have a big impact in places like Louisiana. That's going to have a big impact in places like Georgia, like Vancouver in Canada, the United Kingdom. What's the solution for all of this? That's my point. Is just real quick. That's Bob Iger's. That's what he's saying. That's what he's getting at.
Sure.
So yeah.
But the solution is make good stories, make good movies. If good movies are being pumped out, the demand for more movies, for bigger movies, for more gaffers, for more support staff, for more caterers is going to go up, right? Because you're going to be having bigger productions, you're going to have bigger budgets, you're going to
they'd have more money for trails and residuals too, which they don't have now,
right?
Because
and merchandise.
Because of the worshiping the almighty streaming god altar, and because the fact that the stuff that especially places like Disney are pumping out, are not even covering their costs at the box office anymore. And then they're not making any money on the back end. Disney Plus is losing like $1 billion a quarter. A cruise ship, a Disney cruise ship per quarter is what they're losing on Disney Plus.
It's sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So every quarter...
Just torpedo the fantasy one quarter, the Wish the next quarter, the Dream the quarter after that. That's what Disney Plus is.
Just torpedoes it down and sends it in the depths like an Ocean Gate sub. Too soon? Too soon? Okay.
Rapid decompression.
Anyways, thank you so much. Leprechaun Gold, $100 super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. You're a great supporter of the channel and really appreciate you and all the support. Guys, I can't do this without supportive people in the channel, without people coming through and supporting me. So thank you so much. You allow me to do this and bring on good people like Valiant and have good conversations that people want to have. So thank you so much for your support. Really, truly appreciate it. This video has been a clip of a previous live stream, and it's clipped so you can get the information in a shorter, compact package, the information you need. If you want the full video, the whole context, the whole thing, you can check out the full stream that is in the link below. Check that out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.